Welcome to Civilization Stories, where we explore alternatives to history through the lens of the world's most addictive video game. One of the things I always hope for my channel is that it can offer tips and tricks on how to be a better Civ player, or how to play certain civilizations. Mostly, I think of my channel as a place for players who play on levels below Deity, but want to make strides and challenge themselves to play on higher difficulties while still having fun. So for this video, I've decided to put together a step-by-step guide on how to win on Deity every time as any leader. So just a few quick caveats here. I'm talking specifically about Civ VI. One of the great things about Civ VI is that each Civ has unique strengths and bonuses, and there are many ways to win the game. It's usually preferable to swing into a Civ's particular playstyle, which means that the ideal path to victory for any one particular Civ might not exactly align with the strategy I'm about to outline here. This step-by-step guide needs to be thought of as a generic backup plan for any Civ. This particular strategy will also be well suited to certain Civs and play to their strengths more than others. But what is great about this plan is that no matter which Civ you decide to play as, victory is achievable by this method. What this video is not is a strategy of playing Civ designed around optimizing play and winning quickly. It's about taking a step back, taking a large overview of what the absolute most important decisions are to get over the line and ensure victory. You still need to do the work. And as Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Playing on Deity is difficult. It's meant to be. Players begin at a massive disadvantage. What I will outline here are the ways to overturn that disadvantage. What I will try to do is give players an overview of how to approach the game, certain targets to aim for while they play, a list of key decisions to make along the way, and finally an explanation of what victory should look like and when it should happen. So let's get started. This strategy is focused on early domination and swinging into a science victory. Mostly, I'm talking about playing on standard speed on a continent's map with a standard map size. Before we get started, I have a few videos called Rocky Start that are designed to give players a sense of how to look at the map on turn 1 and decide where to settle. They are worth checking out if you are curious and want to dig a little deeper on how to read start locations. But if you can, it's best to settle on turn 1. Settling on turn 1 isn't always the best choice, but you do want to settle as early as possible. Your goal is to surround your city center with productive tiles. Settling on a tradable luxury resource, even if you have to move over 1 or 2 tiles, is worth it for the early extra science, culture, faith, or gold yield. In this first phase of the game, your goals are: number 1, claim as many goody huts as possible. Number 2, meet as many city-states as possible, and hopefully be the first to do so. Number 3, achieve as many eurekas and inspirations as possible. Number 4, settle at least 1 more city. Number 5, build a sufficiently robust army so that you cannot be pushed around by barbarians or the AI. As you go along, there are a few key inspirations and eurekas you will want to make sure you get. This is free science and culture early in the game when it is super important, so don't miss out. First, make sure you build a slinger. Use them to kill a unit and get the eureka for archery. I don't care if your city's first build is a scout or another warrior, but you should build that slinger, find a barbarian encampment, station your warrior and your slinger next door, and get that kill. Barbarian spearmen that defend barbarian encampments will target your slinger. So be focused and cautious. Your warrior is there to beat down the spearmen, but your slinger is there to finish the job. Second, make sure you kill 3 barbarians and get the eureka for bronze working. It's easy to do, and bronze working reveals iron, and iron will be your key to victory. Hot tip number 1. I usually save my gold until the second I reach 200. Once my gold reserve hits 200, I immediately buy a builder and set them up to use their 3 charges to improve 3 tiles to get the inspiration for craftsmanship. If possible, you want your first 3 improvements to be a pasture over horses, a stone quarry, a mine over a luxury or strategic resource, or a farm on a resource like wheat, rice, or maize. Getting craftsmanship and plugging in the Agogi card early is your key to getting your army outfitted with as little production wasted as possible. Once you research Code of Laws, you always want to make sure you start with God King. Once you have your Pantheon, always switch to the policy card that gives +1 production in your cities. The policy card offering a combat bonus against barbarians is usually the default choice for the military slot at the start. As you progress into the classical era, how you choose your dedications is dependent on so many factors. If you hit a classical era golden age, which is rare but not impossible, if snagging a religion is within your grasp, Do so by choosing the Exodus of the Evangelist's Golden Age dedication. If you choose this option though, Make sure you get that religion or else it's a total waste. The safest bet is free inquiry, since you should be trying to get as many eurekas and inspirations as possible. Hot tip number 2. If you are researching a technology or civic that you have not achieved the eureka or inspiration for, get the progress dial to about 60% and then switch to another tech or civic. Sometimes you just need a little more time to hit that milestone and get the eureka or inspiration, but it's basically free science and culture. Try not to waste it. Let's talk about some firsts. First, let's talk about first district. Never, ever build a campus as your first district. On rare occasions where you are playing with a religious civ who has a religion-dependent bonus, it's okay to build a holy site and secure that religion. But generally speaking, your first district should always be an encampment. Here's why. The AI prioritizes science above other yields. You might think, but then it's all the more important that I build a campus as a way of keeping pace with the AI. But this is wrong. To defeat the AI on Deity, you cannot beat it at its own game. It has too many advantages. You must do what they don't. Build an encampment. Your goal is to get an early great general. If you do this, as far as I'm concerned, you've just won the game. Going back to firsts. Second, your first governor should usually be a Mani. Here's why. What you want to do is become the first suzerain of as many city-states as possible and collect as much era score as you can. Every 5 turns, plop a Mani into a new city-state once you become suzerain and receive the era score bonus. Finally, once you become suzerain of 3 or 4 or however many, place a Mani inside a city-state you want to control or whose borders are close to your nearest rival. Your goal now is to save enough money to levy their troops, and you should do this by trading away excess amenities to your neighbors for gold. This includes any stored diplomatic favor. Trade it away, get the cash. In the meantime, while exploring with your military units, have at least 1 unit hovering around the borders of your neighbors. If you can snag an unprotected settler, do it. Just make sure that you'll be able to get that settler back to near your territory and you'll be able to found a viable city out of it. Things not to do. You're going to win a science victory, but you don't do that with science early in the game. Be strong. The way to do that is to cut down your neighbors. Don't chase early wonders, especially the pyramids. They will be yours someday. Hot tip number 3, pay attention. In single-player games, the civilization that builds the pyramids is usually not far away. Playing on continents maps, I don't think I've ever seen the pyramids built in the New World. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's happened. But usually, they dangle the pyramids out in front of you, tempting you to go after it, and you should. The pyramids are one of the most important and valuable wonders in the game, as we will see, but let the AI waste its production on it. You have more important things to worry about for now. If you possess the following, you're more than ready to take the next step. 1. Suzerainty over at least 1 city-state. 2. Enough gold to levy their troops. Number 3. You should have built 3 archers for the Eureka for machinery. 4. You should have built at least 1 spearman. Number 5, you should have at least 2 warriors. Number 6, you should have access to a source of iron. Number 7, you will probably need a battering ram. And number 8, finally, you have 1 great general. If you have all this, you are more than ready, and I will suggest that you don't need all of it just yet. You will want to make sure your tier 1 government is also set to oligarchy. Conquering a nearby city-state that you have no intention of being suzerain of is a great first step. Here's why. City-state suzerainty is a competitive game and you're always behind. In the early game, focus on 1 and use them to expand your empire. The AI cannot yet declare a protectorate war, so you're free to be a bully. These are cities already with infrastructure. It's a free holy site or campus. It's 1 less settler you need to waste production on. During the battle, all of your units will accumulate experience. Grab at least 1 city-state if you can and do it quickly. Remember to try and grab a city-state close to your own borders that you have not used envoys on. I recommend doing this with the soldiers from the city-state whose troops you are prepared to levy. Don't half-ass it. It's better to be swift and decisive. With a battering ram, you should be able to get that city-state in less than 5 turns. Remember to clear out enemy units before you assault the city. Always make sure to put the city under siege so that it does not repair in between turns. If you can grab a city-state, great. Now it's time to go after your nearest neighbor. Don't worry about denunciations or your reputation. Just get your troops in position and go for the jugular. If they ask why you've moved your troops to their border, tell them straight, go to war. Your first objective is not to smash through and invade. Your job is to lure out their forces into firing zones where they have no defense. You want to cut down their units. All this is made easier if you have a great general. Great generals cannot die. The AI prioritizes removing them from the field of battle, but it ends their turn to do so. You want to use your generals, A, as spies to see how well defended their cities are, and B, as blocks to slow down their units so you can take them out. Once you've taken out some of their troops, you should be able to lay siege to a city, just as you did the city-state. Keep an eye on the HUD ribbons, or the HUD ribbons, I really don't know what they're called. There's only one number in there that is important. I don't care what your science, your culture, or your income looks like compared to your rivals. The only number that matters is your military strength score. And the minute yours is greater than your enemy, you should move in for the kill. Once you take a city, this is about when the AI will come at you with crossbowmen. Don't panic. This is what your great general and your source of iron are for. If you decide to continue the war in spite of the crossbowmen, make sure to lure them out using your great general. Let the crossbowmen remove the great general, but then make sure you rain hell upon them. A couple of shots from well-promoted archers and a single strike from a swordsman should be enough to do the trick without the crossbowmen even firing a shot. Hot tip number 4. It's preferable not to spend gold to upgrade the units of the city-state whose troops you've levied. There is the hungry exception, but let's blow past that. These levied troops, assuming you've captured at least one city, are in fact expendable. If you exhaust the units of a city-state you use to invade your neighbor, once it's peacetime, don't be afraid to betray them and integrate them into your empire, and start placing your envoys in another city-state. Your goal during any war is to 1. Kill as many troops as possible and lose as few troops as possible. Number 2, always prioritize the safety of your own troops. Take a few steps back and seek safety in your own towns if you need to, and rope that dope into your territory. Number 3, capture at least one city. Knowing when to say mission accomplished and end the war is tough to gauge, but make sure they are coming to you first. Never simply present a peace offer. If you have to just to survive, then something went wrong and you've already lost. Maybe just start over. If you've made headway, the AI will come to you asking for peace. This is a sign that you've tipped the balance and you're winning. Keep pushing. The only reason to end a war you're winning is if you are being threatened by another angry neighbor, or they have a city that is so well defended and has progressed to a point where your troops won't be able to take it. The most likely scenario is that the enemy you are at war with and one of your other rivals will declare a joint military emergency against you. Your goal if this happens is to continue your push into enemy territory and simply hold back the new enemy. When you can, it takes at least 10 turns, I think, you should be able to propose peace with the first enemy who should already be weakened by your initial invasion. They should be paying you off. The profits from this peace should be set aside to upgrade units, especially archers into crossbowmen and swordsmen into men-at-arms. You now want to redeploy your main army to attack the second opponent. Your goal is the same as in the first war. Kill their units, spare your own, be especially careful with your veterans, have the enemy units chase around your generals, and finally you should make sure you capture at least one enemy city. By now you should have also built at least 2, preferably 3 siege units. These guys are weak. Don't take any chances. Your goal is to use them as much as possible and take the crew weapons, shells, expert crew, and forward observers promotions. But make sure you keep them alive. Early in the game, the AI uses catapults as defensive units, almost like an archer. It's a huge waste. Don't be like the AI. Hot tip number 5. Never siege or assault an encampment district. It is wasted energy. It's better to go around and find gaps where your soldiers can travel without being subjected to ranged attacks. You want to keep up this swinging pendulum, moving your troops from one border to the next for the rest of the game. Make sure you also conquer any city-states that are allies of the civs you are at war with. Never waste envoys competing for city-states unless you absolutely need the city-state. If there is ever a period of peace, go after the city-state while you stabilize other parts of your economy. This is the ABCs of Civ, always be conquering. Remember, every city you capture is infrastructure that adds to your empire that you did not need to use production on, and production is king. If you're running your wars properly, there comes a point where you might not need to build any more troops, especially if you have a few great generals. Great generals are incredibly handy, and the more the merrier, so don't retire them. You want to make sure that you are running as many trade routes as you have available. Internal trade routes are fine, especially in the early game, because it's more about food and production than gold or other yields. Use trade routes running from newer cities to your larger cities where you get better food and production yields, so these cities build up and start being productive quicker. In terms of your government plaza, I prefer Warlord's Throne and Grandmaster's Chapel. Using faith to buy soldiers, especially if you don't have a religion, can get you out of a lot of jams. Intelligence Agency is also a good choice, a great choice even, especially if you sense your invasion will slow down and you've decided already to go for the science victory. Grandmaster's Chapel is the choice if you need units. Intelligence Agency is the choice if you're far behind and need Eurekas and to slow down your enemies. As for governors, we talked about Amani. Basically, you want her staying in your most prized city-state so that you keep control and hold on to that bonus. But it's okay to move her out and into a conquered city to make use of the loyalty she brings to cities. But after Amani, I prefer going Liang with her zoning commissioner promotion. Then it's preferable to get Victor in there and promote up through garrison commander to embrasure. This combo should set you up to be able to get good production from Liang in the home territory, but also the opportunity to invade your neighbors and keep up the push. Pingala will become important, but that happens much later. Hot tip number 6. In one of your coastal cities, take the time to build the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. It doesn't require a lot of production and the AI almost never builds it. It is one of the most useful wonders in the game for reasons we will discuss later. By the industrial era, you kind of want to make sure you've ventured out to sea to discover the far continent in order to make contact with neighbors in the New World. They will always be more advanced than you and the enemies you've been fighting up until now. It's totally normal. Don't panic. You'll get there. Hot tip number 7. The minute you meet a new neighbor, make sure you send a delegation or establish an embassy and make sure to trade any excess amenities in exchange for amenities and gold. They will start to hate you by the next turn and the opportunity to cash in will be gone. So make sure you take care of this right away. Your next big leap forward happens when everybody starts to research nationalism. Once you see your enemies with corps and armies, this is your opportunity to shine because you're going to go on an era score collection spree. If you've had loyalty issues up until now, fear not, because your goal is to now string along golden ages from the modern to the future era. The way you're going to do this is by eliminating corps and armies with units that are not corps and armies. Remember, using your generals to slow enemy units, you want to target enemy corps and armies to the point where they're almost eliminated, and make sure you finish the job with a regular single unit. You earn era score every time you do this, and it will help you string golden ages together. With these golden ages, you want to choose Heartbeat of Steam every time. By the modern and atomic eras, you should have mostly conquered your entire continent. If yes, you have the option of pushing to a domination victory if you want. If no, you will definitely have to win by science. If you push for the domination victory, then that's fine, but for this exercise, let's concentrate on getting that science victory since it's usually the easier of the two options. Most important, by now, you should have eliminated at least one rival and integrated the whole of their empire. The size of your empire matters. The more cities you have, the higher your population, and you generate more science, culture, everything with the more of the map you control. Your empire score, along with your military score in the HUD or HUD ribbons, is what is going to allow your science, culture, and faith yields to match and eventually overtake your rivals. Hot tip number 8. If it wasn't clear before, I want to hit home that Civ 6 rewards you for doing a little bit of everything. That includes participating in competitions, having a small side quest to get a Eureka, going out of your way to pick up where a meteor landed, or settling near a wonder or a volcano. All of these are case specific, but it's usually worth reserving 1% of your energy for these things that you'll often feel you can't be bothered with. By now, Pingala should be in play and you want to head toward that Space Initiative promotion. Using spies is very important in this stage of the game. Start by running Siphon Funds missions, always run gain sources first. Siphon Funds has the highest percentage chance of being successful, and you want to increase your odds of getting that first promotion. After your first promotion, you can run Steel Tech Boost missions and Neutralize Governor missions. When your enemies begin to have spaceports, you'll want to run the Disrupt Rocketry mission. Try to max out the number of spies you have in the field. Don't bother running Foment Unrest or Recruit Partisans missions. Foment Unrest is useful only in a town next to your empire that you could and should already take with military force, and recruiting partisans will only give their units promotions, making them all the more stronger if you do eventually need to fight them yourself. It's also at this stage that you need to really start thinking about great people. Save the money and the faith if you won't be able to recruit them yourself through your infrastructure, but prioritize recruiting one or all of the following great people: Robert Goddard, Sergei Korolev, Werner von Braun, Carl Sagan, and or Stephanie Kolek. Of these, Korolev and von Braun are the highest priority. Up until now, every great person has been useful, but these are essential to win the game. Although I recommend conquering a city with a spaceport, you may have to build one yourself. They take a while, but slow and steady can be fine if you monopolize those great people. I tend to play without GDRs these days, but if the AI does get aggressive, continue to use those great generals to slow them down. And if they attack one of your cities, be sure to defend it with machine gun units. Machine guns are by far the best city defense system you have. Fighter jets are also useful unless the AI has researched advanced AI and their GDRs have the drone air defense upgrade. Your Tier 3 government building absolutely needs to be the Royal Society, and it's no contest. You should know exactly what path to victory you will take before you build it. If you're unsure about what Tier 3 GP building to build, something has gone terribly wrong. Hot tip number 9. If you did secure a religion, you may have picked up Moksha as one of your governors. Don't ignore Reina either. She has her uses. Each of these governors can purchase districts with faith or gold respectively. With only so many governor promotions, pick one or the other, but not both. Although it won't come cheap, by this late in the game, you should have a nice bankroll saved up. In a pinch, you can buy outright a spaceport in one of your core cities to get your space race game up and running. It can save you a bunch of turns, especially if you're trailing your rivals. Depending on the size of your empire, you can stop capturing enemy cities, but I recommend you keep up your assault of enemy cities if you can. A larger empire yields a higher score. And again, more infrastructure, higher yields, better everything. People might talk about amenities, yada, yada, yada. Don't listen to them. Especially if you hop onto the other continent, you'll realize just how happy your cities can become when you tip the scale. But more often than not, you have the production to win the space game. The only thing that might inhibit your progress is your path through the tech tree. You want to speed to Offworld Mission as quickly as possible. Robert Goddard, Werner von Braun, and Stephanie Kvolek, you want to use your charges on your most productive city with a spaceport, the hub where you will build most of your space projects. You want to leave at least one charge on either Carl Sagan or Sergei Korolev for the very end to speed that Offworld mission in a single turn. In order to build the other space projects, you want to make sure that you have been making and saving up builders with all of their charges. If you have the pyramids by now, which you should, they will all have an extra charge and be all that more productive. You want to send these builders to your spaceport and use them to add production to your space projects. You can only use one per turn, but go to town. If you built the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, which you should have, any great engineer you recruited will have an extra charge. So you can Sergei Korolev your Mars colony and your Offworld mission back to back. Make sure to check in and see how your rivals are doing. Depending on how successful your military part of the game was, one of your rivals might have launched their Offworld mission before you. Don't panic. You can still win this. Focus all of your spaceports on building laser stations and keep using builders to add production to these projects. Hot tip number 10. If somehow Hong Kong is still around as a city-state in the game, this is where all of your envoys should go. If you are not their suzerain, plug in the containment diplomatic policy card and pump as many envoys as you need in there to get the job done. If you need Hong Kong to get the job done, then it's a close game, but it could be the difference. You'll need to focus on those laser stations. If you sense that your enemy's spacecraft will arrive before yours, you'll need to invade. Civilizations need to have at least one spaceport to win a space victory, so you'll need to accomplish that. GDRs with the advanced power cells tech promotion are your best friend. Plus, you should have researched guidance systems and have decent rocket artillery and bombers to go city hunting. It's best to trust that it doesn't come to this, but you need to have it in the back pocket. There is also, the nuclear option. If you've followed this path and been mostly successful, you should be able to achieve victory on standard speed somewhere between turn 280 and 350. Any later than that, and you run the risk of the AI beating you off-world. I know that may seem like a lot of stuff, but Civ is a complicated game. Let's try to break all this into some tidy buzzwords. Try to keep up. Encampment, early great general, city-state suzerainty, levy troops for first invasion, military emergency defense, Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, Warlord's Throne and Intelligence Agency, space race focused great engineers and great scientists, back to back late game golden ages, heartbeat of steam golden age dedication, machine gun city defense, disrupt rocketry spy missions, Royal Society builders add project production, laser stations. Remember also that how successful you are in the first stages of the game echo loudly in the late stages of the game. You want to get that decent sized snowball rolling as soon as you can. Knowing when you have taken away the advantage from the AI is the most difficult part of Civ 6, but with more experience you get used to it and you'll grow in confidence. All of those other things, like wondering if Fez or Kumasi is the better city-state to be suzerain of, or like do either of their bonuses fit better with your particular civ's bonus, is just noise. If you follow this path, no matter who you are, you should be able to get over the line and get that victory. Anyway, that's my strategy for winning at Civ 6 on Deity as any civ. I hope you found this sort of beginner's guide helpful, and if you play on a level below Deity, try playing on one difficulty higher than you normally would and test out this strategy. Let me know how it goes. And thanks for watching. Remember to keep playing and making your own civilization story your own amazing path through history, and I'll see you next time.